News of the deal was revealed in a court filing in the Northern Mariana Islands, a U.S. Commonwealth in the Pacific, where Assange is expected to make an appearance on Wednesday. He was indicted during former President Donald Trump's administration over Wikileaks' mass release of secret U.S. documents, which were leaked by U.S. intel analyst Chelsea Manning, who was earlier also prosecuted under the Espionage Act, then incarcerated for 7 years, before a commutation order by former President Barack Obama cut decades off her sentence. Assange seen here boarding a flight out of the UK to the Northern Mariana Islands.
Is the closest jurisdiction to Australia that's in a US soil with a federal court. Obviously, I mean, we could also think about it. There's less potential for a lot of chaos with the press and press coverage and all that. So they wanted to get this done efficiently and get it done in a U.S. court.
Some analysts have long argued that the charges should never have been brought against Assange.
Regardless of what this means for Mr. Assange, it's terrible for the United States. This prosecution should not have happened. This is the first time in the 100-year history of the Espionage Act that a journalist or someone committing journalism, someone engaging in journalistic act, has been prosecuted under the Espionage Act for essentially receiving information and communicating information. Now, this is something that journalists do all the time. They receive information and they communicate information. And journalists who cover national security have a responsibility to try to help keep the rest of us informed about what our government is up to.
The Guardian newspaper worked closely with Wikileaks on publishing the leaked materials, which included classified documents related to America's wars abroad and a massive dump of private diplomatic cables, among others.
Enough was enough. I'm pleased that he's been released. I'm sorry that it's taken the plea on a charge of espionage, because I don't think actually anybody thinks that what he was doing was espionage. But he's been in jail for long enough, and I hope that's the end of his potential. I hope that's the end of his own the punishment for what he did. I have no idea what Assange will do now. I'm sure he'll want a break from living in solitary confinement and to get to know his children better.
Assange's wife, a South African-born Swedish-Spanish lawyer he married while in prison in 2022 and with whom he has 2 sons, says they will continue to fight for a full pardon.
The correct course of action from the US government should have been to drop the case entirely. We will be seeking a pardon, obviously, but the fact that there is a guilty plea under the Espionage Act in relation to obtaining and disclosing national defense information is obviously a very serious concern for journalists and national security journalists in general.
Assange has been fighting U.S. extradition for more than a decade, spending 7 years in Ecuador's embassy in London before being dragged out and arrested in 2019. Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said there was nothing to be gained from his continued incarceration and that they wanted him brought home. Sherman Bryceby's SABC News, New York.